Good evening, Californios. It's May 24th, 2022, and we're back. This is Season 2, podcast lucky number 13, and we are Red Star Report. I'm Hal G. Lohr, and this is Voices for the California Nation. So, how do we begin? Should I offer thoughts and prayers for the demise of American equal rights and democracy? Because it's readily apparent by the Supreme Court leak that the death of Roe v. Wade is already a done deal, and the court is now just working out the language for its legal requiem. Yet, another U.S. regressive decision, which will legally codify that in the United States of America, how much and what kind of human rights you can have will now completely depend on the state, or in California's case, the nation state where you live. At least until the next couple of gerrymandered election cycles, which will allow a conservative government to win the right to make the Texas abortion laws the law of the land. But please, speaking to you as an unapologetic California secessionist, I'll ask you to save us both the time and trouble of not clutching your delusional MSNBC Democratic Party pearls of wisdom as you try to tell me why the abortion fight in America is not already over. And while you're at it, don't get me started on the latest doomed from the start symbolic gesture. Let's save Roe from a little display from Congress. Their last-ditch pathetic attempt to save women's reproductive rights that Senate stalled in this can't-get-anything-done Democratic majority U.S. government. Yet another proud American moment, just like we saw in police reform, assault weapons, voting rights, infrastructure, etc., 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 where we got to watch our California tax dollars in action as the U.S. House and Senate shrug and fail to protect the reproductive rights of California women as an acceptable option. Which leaves me to a question for the women of California. Given America's ever-increasing hostility to California's long-standing protection of the rights of women, really, how can any California woman not recognize California independence as a viable option to protect her fundamental human right to control what happens in her own body? Face it, the granddaughters of California women who marched in pro-choice rallies in 1972 are now marching in 2022 in a hopeless fight they've already lost for the soul of a devolving America. How many more generations of California daughters are we willing to risk being sold into reproductive slavery on an ever-ending federal fight for what should have been settled as an unquestionable human right 50 years ago? Gavin Newsom said in the video I'm about to play that California will protect a woman's right to choose. Then he asked a very legitimate question about where's the National Democratic Party? And then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi took offense to this. She famously said, "You don't know how hard the Democrats are fighting this." Later followed by a statement that the Democrats had already raised $12 million for this fight. Which I guess tells you everything you need to know about the attitudes of the people fighting to protect our California rights in the U.S. government and why they never win. But just in case you don't get it, here's a little hint. If you really want to fight for California, there's a big difference between raising fists and raising funds. You have to stand up to the fascists and decide that any failure to protect the human rights of 20 million California women is never going to happen, even if it means national divorce to end what has become California's abusive relationship with the United States. This is Voices for the California Nation. Just in case you're wondering what a way too pissed off for primetime Gavin Newsom actually said in his Planned Parenthood conference, we have another segment of Edited to Conclusion for you. Enjoy.
I want to share and add my voice to the voice of quite literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans, and express my outrage about the decision the Supreme Court appears to have made as it relates to rolling back our constitutional rights. The rights have been well established and affirmed over and over again for close to half a century. It's a remarkable moment. I remember receiving from my staff, Ann Patterson, my legal secretary, that political article, and I said, is this the onion? Is this actually happening? Is this true? I honestly felt that way. In so many ways it was predictable, but when you actually saw that decision, started to flip through it, it's just a remarkable moment in American history. At a time when countries around the world are expanding liberties, expanding freedoms, expanding rights, here we are in the United States of America about to roll back rights. The entire history of the Constitution has been about the expansion of rights. The entire history of the United States has been about expanding rights, not restricting rights, not rolling back rights. And this Supreme Court is poised to roll back constitutionally protected rights. And don't think for a second, this is where they stop. And if you think it affects someone else over there, this is about you. If the right to privacy is not foundational, they're coming after you. They are. Fill in the blank. Who is you? It's us. It's all of us. Across the spectrum of issues. You think for a second same-sex marriage is safe in the United States of America? Give me a break. You heard an Indiana senator, United States senator, not retired, a current senator, U.S. senator, start talking about Loving versus Virginia. I'm actually old enough to remember that Loving decision was determined in my lifetime. Blacks couldn't marry whites in the United States of America, and he actually suggested, because that's unenumerated in the Constitution, that should be on the docket for the U.S. Supreme Court. Just think about that for a second. And you don't have to think that far back. I'll never forget. You look at the lower court decision in the Loving case, I'll never forget the decision. The judge, when sentencing Richard Loving to prison, said, God, sir, God never wanted the races to mix, because God put different races on different continents, he said, for a reason. That was the judge's decision. How far removed are we from that kind of thinking today with this current Supreme Court? I'm serious. How far away, how far removed are we from that kind of thinking with this current majority on the U.S. Supreme Court? But it's not just the Supreme Court. Just think about what President Trump did during his just 4 years as president. 231 federal judges, 84% white, 76% male, young federal judges, 54 of them on the appellate court. This is not just about the 3 on the U.S. Supreme Court. Pay attention, America. They're coming after you next. That's not hyperbole. It is not hyperbole. Watch this space. If privacy is not constitutionally protected, this opens up panoply of issues. Across the spectrum of issues, where is the Democratic Party? Where's the party? Why aren't we standing up more firmly, more resolutely? Why aren't we calling this out? This is a concerted, coordinated effort. And yes, they're winning. They are. They have been. Let's acknowledge that. We need to stand up. Where's the counteroffensive? This never happened in our lifetime. They're taking away rights. that have been affirmed over and over again and well established. They are taking them away. Wake up, America.
Anyone else think it's funny that a guy who says he doesn't support California independence sure sounds like Red Star Report there at times, doesn't he? You think Gavin doesn't know he's using California independence movement talking points? Curiouser and curiouser. Moving on. Next up, we have Activism in Action with Shankar Singam. And welcome back, Shankar.
Country, folks. This is California.
Thank you, Hal. Welcome, everyone. Glad to be back after this nice long vacay. A little bit of disappointing news, though. But, hey, can't say that I didn't see it coming. Like we've been saying the past year. I hate to say I told you so, but Jesus Christ, yo. You know what? And there's really nothing else I can say that you guys don't know already. You know my position. You know the movement's position. It makes clear sense. It's logically, it fits. It's the answer to everybody's question. But, right, you want to stay in the United States, stay in the United States. Anyways, let's get back to the issue at hand, what everybody's talking about. Yes, abortion. The Supreme Court leaked a memo that they were going to give the opinion that Roe versus Wade sucks balls, and they don't like it, and they're going to fucking ban it because the owie. So yep. That's what happened, all right. Supreme Court just overturned a 40, 50-year-old law because nothing can be resolved in the United States. So they're just happy with that, I guess. So good for them, right? So a court in El Salvador has sentenced a woman to 30 years in prison for having an abortion. A court in El Salvador has sentenced a woman who suffered an obstetric emergency that ended her pregnancy to 30 years in prison for aggravated homicide. This is 2 days ago, according to a non-governmental organization assisting in her defense. The Citizens Group for the Decriminalization of Abortion on Tuesday said in a statement that a woman they identified only as Esme was sentenced Monday. The woman had already been in pretrial detention for 2 years following her arrest when she sought medical care from a public hospital. Oh, they have public hospitals there. It's interesting. The judge acted with partiality, giving greater weight to the version offered by the Attorney General's office, which was loaded with stigmas and gender stereotypes, the group said. They said they would appeal. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. You have a very staunch religious right-wing government there. And if you think that's not going to happen over here, folks, you are a sucker-ass gullible fool. If you think that the GOP and the Texas state legislature who have said that no women will be arrested for having an abortion, and you believe them, you are just a sucker fool. Please go live in those states. Please stay in those states. I mean, have the brain capacity of a Donald Trump supporter. Period. End of story. You're that fucking stupid. You cannot believe anything the right wing says. It's all bullshit. What they say, the opposite is true. And if you cannot see that, I don't know what to tell you. You're just a really stupid, dumb motherfucker who's fucking it up for everybody else too. Everybody else, their neighbors, other states. Oh, next story. Also in Texas, a 13-year-old who was raped by her grandfather had to travel 3 hours across Texas to get an abortion. Is that 3 hours? Did she have to? How long was that drive? Looks like she had to drive because it's over a 6-week abortion ban. She drove over 800 miles, folks. to get an abortion after her father raped her. Because, Jesus. The story of the 13-year-old girl remains salient. She'd been raped by her grandfather and told her mom when she stopped getting her periods. A doctor confirmed she was pregnant, but the girl couldn't get an abortion close to home in Texas, where abortion access is already limited. So she was driven hours and hours to Kumar's clinic. The doctor saying she shouldn't have to be dealing with any of what she's dealt with. But when I think about if a law like this were to go into effect and she wasn't able to access abortion, if that's what she had chosen, then what would her life be like? How different would it be? Kumar said. It's difficult for me to think about that, to have that choice robbed from somebody. Yeah. Yep. Meanwhile, yeah. And the reason I can be so nonchalant about this is because I know it's not going to happen here in California, where you're not going that way, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Let's see what's this one here. Here we got Rio Grande City, Texas. After charging a woman with murder over a self-induced abortion, this is last week, forcing her to spend 3 days in jail and drawing national attention, Starr County's officials announced Sunday that they would change course and drop the charges. Liz Lizelle Herrera was arrested Thursday and held on $500,000 bond. She was released on bail on Saturday, according to jail records and a local abortion fund. The district attorney had presented the possible murder charge to a grand jury last month, leading to her indictment and arrest before his Sunday announcement. And the only reason charges were dropped was because he's a Democrat. When she went and had the self-induced abortion, it was reported by the hospital to the sheriff's department, who promptly came and arrested her, and then was released the next day, 2 days later, after a Democrat attorney said it was a mistake. Now, what if it was a Republican attorney, huh? Folks, she was arrested, just like in El Salvador. Happening already. I mean, I don't know what the tipping point for you would be. How many more of these stories do you need to hear? I have no idea. But it's a lot. Oklahoma. Thousands of women in Texas are fleeing Texas to Oklahoma to have abortions. Before Texas's ban on abortion, Oklahoma averaged 40 women per month coming to the 2 clinics they have in the entire state to have an abortion. After Texas passed the law, that number went to 222 women per month coming to Oklahoma to have an abortion. Great. Oklahoma governor just signed a Texas-style bill. Great. They really know how to fuck themselves really good in the South there. So the governor just signed a bill banning abortion as well. So now I'm not sure where these women are going to go. It's going to be a long drive. Idaho just signed a bill banning the abortion, Texas-style bill. Florida just signed a banning abortion, Texas side, for 15 weeks. Mississippi just signed a bill banning abortion. Kentucky just signed a bill banning abortion. West Virginia just signed a bill banning abortion. Arizona just signed a bill banning abortion. Wyoming just banned a bill banning abortion. Guys, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I mean, Jesus, when is enough is enough. I mean, honestly, I mean, you still want to be part of the United States after this? I mean, this is a joke. This is a joke. We don't have this issue here in California. When this leak came out and we found out the Supreme Court was going to vote that way, immediately, I'm talking immediately, that night, there was protest by the Supreme Court, by the federal court. Why? I don't know. The next day, there were protests. The day after that, there were protests. Until Californians realized that, who the fuck are they protesting? Abortion will never be illegal here. It's not an issue here. We've made our mind up on it. We don't give a fuck what the federal government's going to say about it. It's going to happen. The governor has just signed into law and putting into our state constitution, making California a sanctuary for reproductive freedom. Again, we don't give a shit what the federal government says or does. They can go fuck themselves. This is California. This is not the United States. And all of you Californians out there who don't fucking realize that yet, you need to wake the fuck up. When is the tipping point for you? What, this doesn't have to do with you personally, so you don't care yet? When will you care? When you have to hide being gay? Go back in the closet? Then will you care? Or how about when INS raids your house and deports your mother? Is that when you'll care? Because all of this shit is around the corner, folks. I don't know what else to say. Mississippi bans contraception after the Supreme Court's opinion. So after the Supreme Court gives its opinion, there goes birth control, pills, condoms, the whole nine out of Mississippi. And you know other states are going to do it. So great. Is this really who you want to identify with as your fellow countrymen? Look at California stepping up to it and being a sanctuary state for reproductive freedom. Where the fuck is New York? Where the fuck is Jersey? Where the fuck are these other fucking blue states? Why aren't they stepping up like us? Where all of our clinics are getting ready to for this influx of women to have abortions in the state. We're getting ready. Oregon's getting ready. Washington State's getting ready. The left coast, the entire left coast. Where the fuck are the rest of the blue states? Washington, Oregon, and California carry this country on every election. For what? And California carries the most weight, bears the most burden. When is enough? Don't go protest. There's better ways to fight them, and you know it at home. Go help a clinic, get online, hunt an insurrectionist, battle the GOP, battle white nationalism, all you can. Don't take your eye off the ball. Vote for your local candidates. Do not vote Democrat. Do not vote Republican. If there is another person running, vote for them. I don't give a shit if you disagree. If they're not a Democrat or Republican, vote for them. Currently, we have five people voting that I know personally are running for office. None of them are running as Democrats or Republicans. That's what we need to concentrate on, folks. We need to take back our state from the Democratic Party. Let's work on that. That's all I got for you. Hal, back to you, man.
Thank you, Shankar. So good to see you. Let's keep this moving. For those of you looking for more California-based news and perspectives, Red Star Report would like to recommend that you check out and subscribe to the Independent Californian, the online newsletter from our very smart people at the Independent California Institute. You can find them at ic.institute. That's ic.institute. Or you can click on the link below. Tell them Red Star Report sent you. You knew I wasn't going to let you off the hook that easy, right? It's time for Talking Points. You know, for the first talking point back from the break, I'd love to talk to you about what a perfect day it was here in Southern California. Day highs in the 70s with a cool breeze off the ocean. Just a perfect day. I wish I could have shared it with you. But I hope wherever you're watching this, you still had a great day too. See what I did there? That's thoughts and prayers. You're in my thoughts, and I hope the best for you. Yeah, that's not what thoughts and prayers refer to now, is it? In today's America, when someone says thoughts and prayers, it means, I'm not going to do anything to fix America's gun problem, so here's the least I can do to not look like a complete heartless asshole after people have been gunned down in another of America's regularly scheduled and all too predictable mass shootings. So I guess it's time for talking points to look at something Shankar has talked about a few times, but I've really been trying to avoid: gun control and the California independence movement. Because on May 14th, 2022, 18-year-old Peyton Gedron from Conklin, New York, drove halfway across the state of New York and shot and killed 10 innocent people at a grocery store in a largely black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York. He live-streamed this hate crime on video that shows his victims' bodies lying in the top supermarket parking lot as cops take the heavily armed and body-armored Peyton Gedron alive and peacefully into custody. Makes you wonder if they bought the murderer some Burger King on his way to the police station like they did for Dylan Roof. Because, after all, boys will be boys, right? Peyton Gedron is, like Dylan Roof, also a white kid and a self-described white supremacist who targeted a place with a large black population after being predictably radicalized reading alt-right fascist replacement theory propaganda on the so-called dark web. Another modern tragedy, giving us all another opportunity to make symbolic gestures and broken promises to finally do something about gun control. Oh, and let's not forget those useless thoughts and prayers that will allow both sides in the American two-party system to go on TV and pretend to care about the gun issue as they massively fundraise from human suffering and public outrage. All of this playing out while a right-wing politicized Supreme Court guts Roe v. Wade, rips apart LGBTQ rights, and trashes U.S. democracy and voting rights. By the way, does any Californian actually think the Supreme Court won't overturn California gun regulations just for shits and giggles? No. The problem is, for all the years of pain and suffering from shooting after shooting, we do live in today's America where federal gun control legislation isn't going to happen. And American fascism is growing out of control. So, talking point. As much as we Californians would like to believe we live in a modern global society, that doesn't exist in the USA. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Sound familiar? If not, go listen to Fox News for a few minutes, and it will become clear. Every day, the America we Californians thought we knew is acting more like the old America we Californians had hoped the rest of America had left finally behind. Intolerant, racist, violent, hateful, superstitious, and willing to vilify and oppress or even kill any group of people they see as the enemy. To make matters worse, they have over 400 million guns in the United States to help them do this. And they've already completely convinced themselves that enforcing Christo-fascism on the American nation is exactly why the Second Amendment was written in the first place. You know this is true. What else are you going to call it? So as much as we Californians want to live in a modern global society, we can't, as long as we have to stay part of the USA. And as for the issue of guns and the California independence movement, the American right have created a self-fulfilling prophecy here, where any gun control measure taken now in the state of California will only disarm law-abiding Californians, Californians who, without independence, remain stuck in a dangerously radicalizing USA that hates everything Californians hold as core values. Californians legally chained to an ever more fascist America already in a cold civil war, racing towards a very possible shooting civil war that progressive Californians don't want, but might have to play catch-up to prepare for. If Peyton Gendron, Dylan Roof, Stephen Paddock, the Las Vegas shooter, and even arsonist Freddie Owen Graham, who came all the way to California from Missouri to start wildfires, are just the symptoms of a sickness we're just starting to feel the effects of. Guns and the California independence movement. Look, if you'd asked me 5 years ago about the need for stricter gun control in California, I would have likely agreed with you. But American reality has changed since then. That ship has sailed. The "it can't happen here" argument sounds a little more hollow all the time. And as the news comes in that every day in every way, life in America gets a little more cruel and a little more desperate, it's hard to back. So guns and the California independence movement. Here's my thoughts and prayers and my talking point. My thought is that if fascist America is gearing up to force our future to be a question of California independence or American submission, my prayer is that we achieve California independence peacefully before it's too late. Either way, I say don't hold your breath. Be prepared is now more than just a Boy Scout motto. This is Talking Points. Well, that's Red Star Report for the week of 5/24/22. Please check out our website at www.redstarreport.com. And while you're there, subscribe to receive our newsletter, Red Star Review, which will begin publication shortly. Or you can click on the Red Star Review link below. Subscribe to our Red Star Report YouTube channel, please. I mean, really, you're watching this. Go to our Red Star Report Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram, and give us a like and a follow, because if you want a real California Independence Movement media group, that's us. And it's all about the algorithms. Thanks to you and all our Red Star Rebels for watching. See you next week. We are Red Star Report.